Welcome to Marketing and Mindset for Wellness Coaches, the podcast for health coaches and wellness entrepreneurs just like you who are building a business, making the world a healthier place, and designing a first-class life. I'm your host, Kim Foster, MD and certified business coach, and I'm on a mission to help you up-level your strategy and raise your mindset so you can truly thrive and grow your business. Let's get started. Welcome to today's podcast. It's Kim here. In this episode, I'm going to share a story of how I made the commitment to launch my dream business, and it's going to help you get into the right mindset to launch your dream business too. Now, before we dive in, I just want to invite you to my free online training. It's called the 4-Part Formula for Replacing Your 9-to-5 Income with a Coaching Business You Love. So this is for you if you are feeling stuck inside a job or a career that just does not fulfill you anymore. You know that you're meant for more and that you would love to create a business of your own, a coaching business that not only provides meaning and impact, but also the freedom and flexibility that you crave. So inside this free online training, I'm going to teach you my 4-part framework, my proven method for how I created a freedom-based business for myself and how I've helped all my clients to do the same. And so all you have to do is just claim your seat at drkimfoster.com/business training. And then you can be watching this training this week and taking the next step on the path to the business of your dreams. Okay, so let's dive into today's topic on achieving your goals. And what I want to talk about is making your goals non-negotiable, as in there are no ifs, ands, or buts. You are going to make those goals happen. And this is not always an easy mindset shift to make, because a lot of times when we're talking about goal setting, when we're dreaming our dreams and creating our vision boards, it's often in the mindset of, oh, this would be really nice to reach this goal. It would be such a fantasy for this thing to happen, and I would really love that. I wish this would happen. But we don't always make it non-negotiable. So maybe you're thinking, well, that dream outcome might happen for somebody else, but it's not really for me. That's the kind of thing that other people get to have, but realistically, it's not really for me. Or maybe you're thinking, it would be nice, but I really don't have the time to make that dream happen. Or maybe you're thinking, this would be great, but let's be serious. I don't really have the experience to make that dream happen right now. I don't really know how to make that happen. And here's what all those thoughts are. They are limiting beliefs. They're kind of excuses. They are objections that your brain is coming up with to keep you safe, which is what your brain, especially the primitive part of your brain, is actually supposed to do. So it's doing its job. But until you recognize these limiting beliefs for what they are, they're going to be running the show. However, you can override those limiting beliefs with the more sophisticated part of your brain. And one of the best ways to do that is to make your goal non-negotiable and commit to your goal. This looks like truly committing no matter how busy you are, because you're going to find the time, even if it's 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there. Also, it doesn't matter if you don't have the experience. You are going to get the experience. You're going to build up your skills and you're going to improve your mindset of believing that you can make that dream happen. It's also banishing the thoughts that these kinds of goals are only for other people, because they are for you too. And if you make it a non-negotiable, then you're going to make that dream happen too. Without that non-negotiable attitude, though, your brain is always going to come up with reasons and excuses and objections, again, to keep you safe, to keep you in your comfort zone. And as I say a lot, if you fight for your limiting beliefs, you get to keep them. So let me tell you a story, because I haven't always made my dreams non-negotiable and completely committed to my own goals either. So I'm obviously a coach now, and I've been doing this for several years, but I was stuck too once upon a time. I felt totally stuck in my career, and although I was dreaming of something different, I just couldn't seem to make it happen. I was working in clinical medicine, and that was my only real income source, and I was, in fact, the lead physician at the clinic where I was working, which meant that not only did I have my own patients to care for, which was busy enough, and if you've heard any of my previous podcasts, you know it was also highly unsatisfying for me because of all the limitations of conventional medicine and how incredibly disillusioned I was with healthcare that is, of course, really only sick care. And I had long ago felt that I wasn't really making a difference in people's lives, just kind of handing out Band-Aids and putting out some fires here and there. Anyway, I also, besides all that clinical work, I also had this administrative role at my clinic because I was the lead physician. And so I was in an important meeting one day. It was a meeting that happened every year with our regional health authority who funded us and in large part paid all of our salaries. And basically, I was being raked over the coals because the physicians in our clinic weren't seeing enough patients each day. Our numbers weren't high enough to justify our salaries. And basically, the powers that be were telling me that we were going to need to see more patients per day, churn through more patient encounters, and that they didn't really care what the nature of those visits was. They were completely unconcerned with any other outcome, like how much we were actually helping people or anything like that. They were only concerned with the metric of the number of visits per physician per day. And I was so angry sitting there in that meeting. I knew that we had a high proportion of mental health issues that we were dealing with every day at the clinic. Our patient population had a lot of mental health conditions, and we were very unserviced in terms of psychiatry. And so it was down to the family doctors to handle so much more mental health than is typical in family medicine. And as I'm sure you can appreciate, mental health care takes a lot more time than like a visit for a sore throat. When people are literally crying in your office or talking about their suicidal thoughts, you can't exactly kick them out and say, sorry, but we're done here and I need to keep moving and see more patients. And oh my God, did I try to explain this to the administrative poobahs in that room, in that meeting. I backed it up with my own numbers, our percentages of mental health related visits, and tried to help the pencil pushers really understand that we were trying to provide an important service to our population. And yes, we weren't churning through as many people in the day, but we were trying to meet the needs of the people in our community. And there were more important things than numbers. But they would not listen. They did not care. All they wanted to know was how we were going to get our numbers up. And if we were unable to do that, then they were threatening changing our funding and our payment structure. And so I was sitting in that room near the end of the meeting feeling powerless and frustrated and so angry, like I said, and all of a sudden I got this really bizarre throbbing sound and feeling in my head that I had never heard or experienced before. It was actually more of a sound than a feeling, and it was just so weird. And I thought, oh my God, I'm having a stroke. I have actually burst an aneurysm or something. I do get migraines, but I had never had this particular symptom before. So I excused myself, discreetly, went to the restroom, splashed cold water on my face and tried to calm down. And somehow I managed to return to the boardroom and stayed fairly quiet as everything just wrapped up. And then I went back to my office and took a migraine pill and drove straight home. By the time I got back home, about 15 minutes later, I had the worst migraine I had ever had. I couldn't even see straight. I then spent the next 2 days in bed in so much pain and throwing up and barely functional, really not functional actually. And I went to see my own doctor who sent me straight to emergency. And as I was lying there in the CT scanning machine, I had a little time to reflect. And at the end of that meeting, I remembered that the key stakeholders in there were making some mutterings about what we were going to cover the next time we had this particular meeting. And they were saying, yes, when we get together next time and things like that. And I remember just sitting there looking at the woman who was saying these words as my head literally sounded like it was going to explode. And I thought, I am not going to be in this room next time. I mean, assuming that I'm not dead at that point, I am not going to be a part of this anymore. Because I realized if I couldn't even convince people who were looking at me in the face, people who knew me, who I could actually speak to and explain what was broken about our system, if I couldn't even convince them on such a small local level, what hope was there for the system as a whole? Nope. I could try and fight it and give myself a stroke in the process, or I could say, you know what? I'm choosing a different path for my life. I had at that stage already discovered the world of coaching and I loved it, but I was only dabbling in it. I knew that was true. I wasn't really committed to it. I was kind of like dipping a toe in the water, but I wasn't fully in. I was mostly just trying to figure things out by myself, not really investing and not really taking any risk. So once I recovered from that episode and I got the all clear from the images of my head that no, I hadn't ruptured an aneurysm, I wrote and handed in my resignation for that role. I stepped down as lead physician. I was just done with that part of the job. And then I dropped my clinical hours sharply to part-time and took a big pay cut so that I could devote significant time to actually building the career I wanted, doing the work that I wanted to do. No more time in boardrooms or meetings or other clinical work that did not light me up. It was over. And I created a document that I called Exit Strategy, and I planned and strategized and created timelines and did everything I had to do to get myself out of there permanently. And I also started investing. Instead of just kind of secretly building this coaching business without getting any help or guidance or mentorship, I joined a mastermind and I joined a group program and I put my money where my mouth was. And yes, that's even as I was reducing my income. Those investments went on my credit card, something that my husband would have been horrified to learn, but I had to. I was all in and I was finally committed. And here's where this comes into play when it comes to committing to your goals, because my breakthrough came when I was at rock bottom. I was sitting there inside a CT scanner machine and I knew that this was not the way. I didn't know exactly how it was all going to come together, but I knew I needed to make more impact and do so in a meaningful way. I was not going to sacrifice myself to the altar of this system, the healthcare system, anymore. And because I had made that commitment, that was the mindset shift that allowed me to take positive steps every single day to pursue that goal. And so it started with a commitment. I made that decision. I literally had created that point of no return as I was lying there in that CT scanner. I was not going back to my old way of life and staying stuck any longer. I made a decision to make a change and to keep moving forward, and it felt so good to finally be on the actual path of my dreams and actually taking action towards my goals rather than just kind of dabbling and hoping and dreaming. So you may not be at rock bottom like I was in the hospital, and you may not even hate your job, but you might feel like you're never going to reach your full potential. You may be feeling like you're no longer challenged in your current role, or you're starting to feel stuck, or maybe you're realizing that you're not quite making enough money to support your family and achieve the lifestyle that you really want. And you have no idea what steps to take first. Maybe, you're just kind of a big confused mess, but that is okay. You don't need to know how. I didn't know the how at the time, but really the first step is making the commitment. You are going to do this. This is a non-negotiable. No matter what, you are going to make that dream career happen. And this is such an important topic. And honestly, I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for you to make a commitment, that non-negotiable commitment that you want to make change happen in your life and that you want a new career. And when you make your commitment, when you really go all in on your goals, you're not saying, gosh, it would be really nice to achieve this thing, or I really hope I reach this goal. No, it's I can and I will. The words are so important. You make it so that it is not an option to fail. That's the mindset shift I want you to make. It's not an option to fail. It might take longer than you expect, and you might have to pivot a few times or course correct or learn something new or overcome a challenge that you didn't see coming. But the point is, it's going to happen no matter what. That is what it means when a goal is non-negotiable. And if you put yourself in the way of that eventual success, the pathway will reveal itself. The how will reveal itself. The plan will become clear, and then you're going to learn what you need to learn as you go. Because if you don't make that level of commitment, all this stuff that I teach here on the podcast and inside my programs, inside Business Academy, all that stuff, it's just content. It's just stuff that you're learning, but you may not actually take action. It's awesome to learn for sure. I never stop learning, but but you're not going to be able to make the change that you deeply need to make if you aren't actually taking action. And I know you want to make an impact on the world and build an amazing new career for yourself and grow your business. And that all starts with a commitment. Truly, it wasn't until I made that non-negotiable commitment several years ago that things started to shift for me. And now, of course, I'm in a totally different place. But if I had continued along, kind of dabbling, kind of wishing that things would change and that things could come together, and it's almost like I thought I was waiting to be rescued or something. Like on some level, I had this suspicion that somebody was going to come along and tap me on the shoulder and say, okay, Kim, we can see you're unhappy and we've got everything all ready for you now, this brand new life to step into. But of course, there was no rescue coming. I needed to rescue myself, and I needed to make that non-negotiable commitment to myself that it was going to happen no matter what. And after that, all the other stuff became so much clearer. I had no idea how to actually build a profitable business rather than just the expensive hobby that I had created. But I put myself on the path and I got the help that I needed, and basically the rest is history. Things actually moved pretty fast once I made that commitment and took that first step, and that is what I want for you. So there are a couple of things that I want you to do when it comes to making your own commitment. They're very simple, super easy, and basically it's just making the commitment to launch and grow your dream business no matter what. So the first thing I want you to do is to make a contract with yourself. I want you to write down what your non-negotiable goal is. What is your vision? What are you committing to today? So that's the first thing I want you to do, is make that commitment. And I want you to put in writing exactly what you are committing to. Something like, I am embarking on a journey to launch my dream business, and I commit to the duration of this journey. I understand that this venture will push me outside my comfort zone. I understand that I will need to seek support and get help and make time to work toward this goal. And I commit to doing all these things. And once you make the contract, I want you to sign it and date it. And this is what you're going to review every single day. It's your commitment that you are making to building your dream business. And I want you to remember that there is always a way, and you are going to find a way. You may not know exactly what that way is right now, but that's okay. Tony Robbins says there is always a way if you are committed. Just like that coaching business that I wanted for years and dreamed about, but didn't really understand how to make it happen until I made the commitment, and then I learned the way. There are definitely other people out there doing what you want to do, who have the information that you need. All you need to do is reach out and ask and get the answers that you need. As Marie Forleo says, everything is figure outable. So don't get stuck in the story that you have no idea what steps you need to take or that you don't know how to make something happen. Honestly, that is just an excuse that keeps you small. Of course, you don't know right now, but once you make that commitment, then you're going to go out and find out what you need to know. The other thing I want you to do to make your goal non-negotiable is to find somebody to keep you accountable. Find an accountability partner. If you're listening to this and maybe you're in my Facebook group or you're inside one of my programs, then I want you to reach out and find an accountability partner inside there to help keep you on track. Just reach out and say, I want an accountability partner. I have this goal, this vision, and I need somebody to help me stay true to my commitment and stay accountable. And I'll keep you accountable to your own goal too, and we'll support each other. It's hard to tackle big dreams alone. It's so much easier when we have support and community and accountability. And there are definitely people out there who will help to keep you on track. They want you just as much as you want them to keep you on track. So just go out and find them. So now I would love to hear from you. Tag me on Instagram or Facebook and let me know what your commitment is, what your dream is, what you are going after. And just share with me inside my Facebook group, and I would love to hear about it. I would love to cheer you on and support you and be your accountability partner, really, as you move forward with your non-negotiable goals. Okay, that's a wrap for today's episode. I hope that you enjoyed this topic. I hope it helped you shift into that mindset that is completely all in with your goals. And you just know that no matter what, you're going to make them happen, which is just such an exciting place to be. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you. Stay well, stay safe, stay motivated, and I will talk to you next time. Bye for now. Thanks so much for listening. If you are ready to build a coaching business that gives you freedom and flexibility and allows you to make a meaningful impact in the world, but you're not really sure how to get started or what you need to do to attract the perfect clients and grow your income, then let me be your coach. I would love to teach you my exact framework, my proven method for how I created a freedom-based business for myself and how I've helped dozens of clients do the same thing and create a life that is better than their dreams. Get started by heading over to drkimfoster.com/business training, and there you can sign up for my free online training called The 4-Part Formula for Replacing Your 9-to-5 Income with a Coaching Business You Love.